Hello again. Welcome back to another edition of Electric Avenues Update on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Um, wow, the weeks just keep ticking by. We're on March 9th, 10th, 11th. The Ides of March are around the corner. Let's hope we don't have to beware the Ides of March. So thanks for joining me, and hey, let's just get started with this week's new releases, and I've got some other things that I just want to show, sort of kind of a wrap-up of some things that you guys may not be aware of if you were not looking at certain things on the Facebook page. I don't know, my brain is sort of foggy today. It's early. I do these videos usually in the mornings, and I'm like, I need the coffee, and I mean, maybe I didn't get enough coffee yet today, but okay. So the first thing I wanted to show is the new. This is pretty mammoth, and it's not going to be for everybody, but it's the new Pixies box set. This is called Live in Brixton. You can see there's the sticker right there, and so. What is this tome, you ask yourself? And it doesn't really show up very well on camera, but it kind of looks like a black or gray version of another Brick in the Wall, or The Wall, Pink Floyd. Anyway, these are the 4 shows that they did early June 2004. They were the reunion shows after they hadn't played together in like 11 or 12 years. So Kim Deal was back on board for these. And this is an 8 LP set on colored vinyl for indie stores. It's sort of a limited edition. It's about $200. So, but it's very nice. Again, I'm not going to have a lot of these hanging around. So if you want that, you're probably going to have to let me know. All right. But yeah, Pixies fans, you get the whole band there as they were in their heyday. All right, other new releases. We've got the new Ghost album, Impera. This is the indie store version on Orchid vinyl plus bonus stickers. It's actually fairly reasonably priced, $26. Not bad. It's been a little while for Ghost. Produced by Klaus Alland, mixed by Andy Wallace. So they're really going pretty like heavy-hitting names there. Alright. We've got Acoustic Sounds, Verve, Duke Ellington, and John Coltrane. So they Acoustic Sounds keep doing these series, this series. Impulse, 60 Years of Impulse. This is basically Verve's answer to what Blue Note and the Tone Poet series is. And this is a great classic album for them to do like this. Last week there was one Tone Poet, which was Grant Green's Latin bit. And usually there are 2, so the Sunny Red is bumped to April 1st along with the other 2. So we'll be getting 3 Tone Poets on April 1st, supposedly, as of this time, and I think there's more of these Verve acoustic. In fact, they just announced a series of 70s, I think mainly 70s albums coming, so be on the lookout for those. That's like I think May. One of my favorite sort of youngish artists. Anyone's young to me if they're younger than me. Alex Cameron and his new album, Oxy Music. I love how this cover sort of references Brian Ferry and Roxy Music. And you see even the font sort of looks like a Roxy Music cover. Alex is a Australian artist. He's quirky but funny, usually self-deprecating. He's sort of been with the actress Jemima Kirka from Girls. He's been with her for a while. she directs his videos too. His albums are musically, they're at least the last couple were somewhere between the kind of world of like a Springsteen and well, on a more sort of intimate scale, or I guess maybe like a Brandon Flowers, who even with the Killers sort of guested on some of his records, but and they toured together at one point. But yeah, he's a great artist, underrated. I don't know how many people in the U.S. I hope he's got a fan base that pay attention, because I think he's great, witty. Anyway, I could go on about him, I suppose. Rex Orange County, his new album, Who Cares? This is, I believe, his third album now. Seems really popular with the kids, so, or at least was when he first came out. Jenny Hval, Classic Objects. I hope I say her name right. Hval. Right? Like that. She's sort of indie rock. Interesting. Like, brings in sorts of different elements of electronic and stuff like that. Yeah, I guess I don't know who I would kind of compare her to. I suppose recent Kate LeBon is sort of a reference point, maybe, but musically, I don't know how much they're the same. They're not really, but anyway, you don't want my social commentary. The Districts, Great American Painting. Districts actually hail from southeastern PA, so there's a fair amount of a fan base around here, although they are signed to Fat Possum, which is based in Oxford, Mississippi. Go figure. Yeah, so it's been a little while for the Districts. Looking forward to that. Really looking forward to this. Actually, I already have a lot of these albums, but there's a couple new songs, and it's nice having a lot of their hits in one spot. Is Franz Ferdinand, Hits to the Head. Saw them a few years ago when they were touring with Sparks. Since then, their one sort of main side guitarist left the band. They replaced him, I think, with a guitarist and a keyboardist, and then the drummer just left, and now they have a new woman drummer, which is awesome. So anyway, Franz is Alex Kapranos was talking about this, and I think he's right. He says, historically, people don't really like greatest hits albums, or they say they don't, but then when it comes down to it, like a group like ABBA, a lot of people would rather listen to a greatest hits album than to go through their entire discography. And he's probably right about that. And I'm sure that there are other people, they're probably sort of casual fans of even someone like David Bowie, who would rather have the hits than listen to every single album of his. So this is a way of sort of addressing that situation and kind of putting something out there for the more casual listener. And I think more artists should do that, and I'm starting to see that a little bit with Sony's been running a series from Europe where they've been putting out like Earth, Wind and Fire or John Denver, Bill Withers. I'm seeing that starting to happen more. Meatloaf. So, which really, most people would go, well, Bat Out of Hell is all I need. Although I think it's Meatloaf and Friends, so you get like Bonnie Tyler and other people who did Jim Steinman songs. So, that being said, I think greatest hits albums sometimes they serve a purpose. Recently, I just found a K-Tel type album. It wasn't K-Tel, but it was sort of similar, of old Elton John songs, hits. And while I would say the pressing was pretty awful, it was kind of like fun hearing all of the hits of the 70s in sort of one spot. So anyway, don't knock a good greatest hits album. Jeremy Ivy, this is his new record. It's called Invisible Pictures, limited edition color vinyl. And the last one of new, well, no, wait, there's a couple more here. There's Mars Volta's Tremulent EP. So Mars Volta they put out those box sets that were impossible to get, and people spent a fortune. I think it was like $500 for the box set. Then they started issuing some of the albums individually, and we did carry some of them. I think actually we're out of all of them now. They were very short-lived and expensive. Well, not terribly, but like I think Francis the Mute was in the $50 range. It was 3 records. So anyway, those are now probably going to be impossible to find for a little while, when and if they decide to make more of those. And now we're getting sort of some of the other records that are going to be coming little by little. So you kind of have to, if you were wanting some of the early, the big Mars Voltas like Amputecture and Francis, what was the other one? There's a few others. Some of those early ones, you probably missed the boat already. So I hate to tell you, but you really got to pay attention. The one other thing that I wanted to mention here, new, Yoko Ono, Songs of Yoko Ono. This is not a Yoko Ono album, per se. This is other people doing her songs. So you say, well, now why would I want to hear this? Well, David Byrne with Yo La Tengo, Sharon Van Etten, Death Cab for Cutie, U.S. Girls, Jay Som, Flaming Lips, Japanese Breakfast, Amber Kaufman, who Dirty Projectors, right, and Stephen Merritt of Magnetic Fields, among others. So you know, it might be of interest to people who like indie rock and Yoko Ono and want to hear those artists doing those tracks. Okay. Now, aside from all that, I do want to mention that we've started getting more things back in that we'd been out of for several months. And so I would not say the supply chain is in any way back to normal, but because we're still playing catch up. But there are some things that are starting to appear that we were out of for a long period of time. So the first one I'm going to show is Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I very strangely, I'd put some on back order, and then all of a sudden a few of them became available. They sat here for a couple of days because people were not really paying attention. So I put a couple of them on the online store, and they sold immediately. So I'm getting down to almost none. So if you're looking for that, you better pick it up quick, because again, I think I was out of it for about 6 months. I don't know when I'll be getting it again. And with Kanye and his reputation and all that, you never know what to expect. His first 2 albums that we always seem to have, College Dropout and why am I blanking on the second one? Not Graduation. Anyway, Late Registration. College Dropout has been out of stock now for a couple months. Late Registration for at least 6 months. So when you see Kanye, if you want his records, you've got to jump. Okay, the next one I want to mention is John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. Again, I don't see this very often in this Verve Acoustic Sounds pressing. We got a couple about a month ago. They sold immediately, and somehow they still had a couple, so I just ordered them. They won't be here long, I would assume. It's one of his most famous albums, and those Acoustic Sounds pressings are top notch, really. So don't delay. My Chemical Romance, Black Parade. It's been a while since I've seen this on an actual regular record that was not a picture disc. So I don't know how long they'll be around, but I would assume not very long. Usually what happens is I see these things come in at different distributors, and they'll get anywhere from 500 to 1,500 copies. I mean, if you're like Nirvana, there were maybe like 2,000 or 2,500 of those Palace pressings of Nevermind. And then once they're gone, we're in a waiting game again. So, and you think about it, 2000 is not very many for kind of one of the biggest classic albums of all time. Another one that I kept running out of, and we just got a few back in, is REM's Automatic for the People. So probably their most popular or biggest selling album, the one with Everybody Hurts, Man on the Moon, Night Swimming, Sidewinder, and Drive, and Find the River. It's such a great album, and I'm just saying, putting these out there because I don't know if some of you may have missed them. Dire Straits. I didn't think this was coming back in at all, and I got a couple of them. It's the first one. They did these repressings last year, maybe 2 years ago. It has Sultans of Swing, probably their most famous album behind the one behind Brothers in Arms, at least second biggest seller. Neil Young's Harvest, mastered from the analog tapes, or cut from the analog tapes here. At $29, this is such a deal compared to the import, which is now running $90. So you better, if you want Harvest, don't sleep on that. Same thing with Harvest Moon. This is about 34 now, so I don't see it very often, and I'm just saying. Pink Floyd's Animals. This just came back in yesterday. I'd been out of the American edition for a good, probably 9 months. I'd had some imports for a while, but they were more expensive. So $30. Bernie Grundman did the remastering on that. Stone Temple Pilots Purple. You say, why? I say, because I go months at a time without this in stock. It sells in a couple of weeks and then it's gone, and I'm sure that's what's going to happen again. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. I was out of this for 6 to 9 months, probably. It was over 6 months. I think I didn't have it. June was the last time I saw it, or July. So, just showed up. Daft Punk's Discovery. Extremely limited. In fact, I just got word yesterday from our distributor that we use a lot that said, well, we got more in, but they've been allocated and you're going to get 2 copies. So, I mean, this is how tight some of these things are. This is a cool piece, Ride, shoegaze band from the 90s. This is sort of the Record Store Day pressing because it's on red vinyl, and these are not going to be around for very long. If you like Slow Dive and stuff like that, I would check that. The Cure's Greatest Hits. I haven't seen this for almost a year probably. I've had Disintegration off and on, but if you want Boys Don't Cry, Love Cats in Between Days, Why Can't I Be You, Close to Me, Just Like Heaven, all in one spot. Plus it's got songs from Wish, Hi, Friday, I'm in Love. You might want that while we wait for them to decide if they're going to release Wish, which he keeps saying now he's got new albums to go, so it might be even longer. Mount Joy is another sort of band I keep getting requests for, and they just received different pressings of these. This one's a purple smoke, that one's just black, but if you want Mount Joy, Motley Crue has been impossible to get. This is the Greatest Hits album, and thank God someone didn't get the message that it's still down in the $21 range. You'd think that they'd already have that around 30 to 35. So a newer release that I think a lot of people who are interested in jazz and sort of avant-garde music would want to check out, Floating Points, with Pharoah Sanders. Yes, Pharoah's in his 80s and he's still recording with the London Symphony. Everybody I've talked to who listens to sort of like Brian Eno and stuff like that, and avant-garde jazz, thinks this is incredible. It was probably one of the highest rated albums of last year. as far, and I just started seeing this come in on vinyl in the last 2 weeks, and I've had it on back order for months and months and months. So, and I'm sure they're selling fast. In fact, they may be out already. So, Tyler, the Creator's Igor, I was out of this for months. Didn't have it at all during Christmas, and it was there until October, and then gone. Phoebe Bridgers, The Punisher, this album, well, we got a few in the summer, and then it was gone until now. I mean, I didn't have it for 6 months, and it was one of the most requested albums last year. Jenny Lewis, Acid Tongue and Voyager. So, the one with, was it On the Line? The most recent one. That one came back in stock too, but I see that one. Voyager's been a little while. Acid Tongue's been a really long time. So, if you like Jenny Lewis, don't sleep on those. Last thing in my pile here, Pink, Misunderstood. So I think people forget what a great album this is, and you hear so much talk about Alanis Morissette in the 90s. This album was a little bit later, right? It was 2001. But what an album. I mean, and I'll tell you right now, I mean, I love the fact that she's from Pennsylvania and then Bucks County, whatever. I'm not a huge Pink fan. I think she's a cool person. I'd much rather, her than certain other former child stars who shall not be named if I'm going to be listening to my rock music or whatever, like pop rock. But great album, Don't Let Me Get Me, Just Like a Pill, Family Portrait. I mean, Get the Party Started. I mean, come on. Like, if you're going to have a party, and probably my favorite song on here is 18 Wheeler. If you haven't heard that, well, it's kind of a fun song, I suppose. Anyway, so, and she's sort of an icon around here. That's just some of the stuff that, like, I have been seeing come in that I've been like, wow, it's been a hot minute for that. So, here we are in post-pandemic, inflation-driven, war-torn world, and, cherish the music because it's one of the few things that I think is keeping us sort of sane during all the madness. So thank you very much. That was all for this week. I know that wasn't a lot. I didn't even show the CDs. My bad. Real quick, Anthony Phillips, I don't know if I showed this, of Genesis. That was his little CD box set. Judy Collins has a new CD, and I believe it's all stuff that she wrote herself this time. Bryan Adams, still making records. Ghost on cassette. Woohoo! And a name I haven't seen in a while, Cruzados. This was like a 80s band, I believe, that are back together. Yeah, Dave Alvin's on it, John Doe, David Hidalgo. Anyway, you might want to check that out if you ever sort of liked their stuff. I guess sort of like jangle indie rock, sort of, but with a kind of a Southwest bent to it, I suppose. But anyway, it's been a long time since I listened to them. And I think the Rave Ups also just put out a new CD, which I think someone special ordered, but I think I'm currently out of. That's beside the point. Next week, the 18th. Now, you can't see my board here, can you? The Frank Zappa box set. They're deluxe versions of Mother's 71. Charlie XCX new album. Juice WRLD is dropping. I think it's already streaming, but it's going to be out. Tool's Opiate CD. The new Midlake. So there's stuff. Oh, and the Sun House. Well, Sun House is an unreleased album that Dan Auerbach of Black Keys discovered from the 70s, from when he was going to start his career, sort of restart his career, and it sat on a shelf all this time. And yeah, Blue Note Tone Poets from Milt Jackson and Bud Powell, and Gang of Youths on vinyl, which is one of the really great new pop rock records of the year with a story to tell. So I'll get to all that. But Record Store Day, 5 weeks away. So time's ticking. It's coming. All right. And I'm sure there'll be more announcements about that and things that get moved to June. They just can't do it all. Thanks so much. I'm running out of time. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.